Bonjour and welcome to French 2 with Mr. McCoy. This is lesson 6A dedicated to the regular IR verb paradigm. Now, our main objective for this lesson is for you at the end of the lesson to be able to produce in writing the various forms of regular IR verbs conjugated in the present tense, and also for you to be able to pronounce correctly those forms. Okay? Now, we eventually want to show you how to conjugate a handful of irregular verbs, which look like sortir, partir. But before we do, I think it's best that we get everybody on the same page, make sure everybody knows how to conjugate what we mean by a regular IR verb before we get to those irregular verbs. Okay? So, when we talk about regular verbs, hopefully you can recall learning in French 1 about the first group of regular verbs, which would be our regular ER verbs. If I talked about the regular ER verb paradigm, hopefully you'll be able to produce this by memory. If we take, for example, the verb parler as an example, okay? Again, you learned in French 1, you have your infinitive, drop the ER ending, that gives you the stem, okay? What I have in black, parle, that's your stem, and to the stem, you add for each person a specific ending, okay, which I've put in red, okay? So hopefully you'll be able to produce the conjugation of the verb parler in the present tense. Je parle, tu parles, il parle, nous parlons, vous parlez, il parle. Okay? So that would be an example of a regular ER verb, okay? Demonstration of the regular ER verb paradigm or conjugation, okay? So we're going to go another step further. We're going to see our second pattern, regular verb pattern today, which is our IR verb pattern. So again, if I take an infinitive, grandir, which means to get bigger, grandir, grandir. Now here, actually make sure you pronounce the R in the infinitive, grandir. With the ER verb, you don't pronounce it. Parler, okay? But the IR verb, you do pronounce that R. Grandir, grandir, okay? But don't pronounce any of the other final consonants, okay? So again, to get the stem, I drop off the IR. The stem I've written grand, okay? Or grand. We're going to pronounce that D. I've written the stem in black. And I'll show you here the endings in red, okay? So you have I, ils sont, ils, is, okay? So let's read them together. Repeat after me. We'd have je grandis, tu grandis, il grandit, elle grandit, on grandit, nous grandissons, vous grandissez, ils grandissent, elles grandissent. Okay? Again, repeat with me clearly. Je grandis, tu grandis, il grandit, elle grandit, on grandit, nous grandissons, vous grandissez, ils grandissent, elles grandissent. Okay? Now, I find that students don't typically have much trouble with these singular forms, get tripped up with the plural forms, okay? So maybe get these down on a flashcard, okay? So that's our regular IR verb paradigm. Here are a couple of more examples. We can have réussir, which means to succeed, okay? Réussir, okay? Applying the same logic, we'd have je réussis, tu réussis, il réussit, nous réussissons, vous réussissez, ils réussissent. Finir, to finish. We have je finis, tu finis, il finit, nous finissons, vous finissez, ils finissent. Okay. Choisir, choisir, to choose. Okay? Again, that's where students get tripped up. Those plural forms, you remember, drop off the IR and add those endings, which I just showed you. Okay? That would give us, for example, je choisis, tu choisis, il choisit, nous choisissons, vous choisissez, ils choisissent. Okay? How about one more? Agir, to act, to take an action. Okay? Again, drop off the R, add your endings, okay? That would give us j'agis, tu agis, il agit, Nous agissons, vous agissez, ils agissent. Okay? So, get yourself some flashcards. Maybe get a couple of these examples. You'll see some examples on the worksheet you received in class today, the 25th of August. Okay? You may be thinking to yourself, okay, so here, this is the regular IR verb paradigm. How am I going to know, given a verb, given the infinitive, how am I going to know if it's a regular or irregular verb? What I would recommend to you, again, it's a tricky question, okay? I would perhaps try to remember, or try to think of a new IR verb that you come across. Presume that it's going to be regular, okay? But on the flip side, you'll have to try to recognize which ones. We're going to kind of learn these as we go. You're going to have to learn to recognize irregular verbs as you come across them, okay? So for example, in the next lesson, you're going to learn about partir, sortir, sentir, servir, verbs like that. You already know the verb avoir. You're going to learn soon about pouvoir, devoir, vouloir. So I think the key might be just be vigilant, okay, to recognize irregular verbs when you come across them. Otherwise, just kind of presume, have a regular IR verb which doesn't resemble an irregular verb that you've been introduced to. You can kind of presume that it's going to be regular, okay? It's going to follow this pattern here, okay? So again, practice with that in writing. Repeat after me on the tape. Bonne chance, merci, et au revoir.